If I'm down to my last dollar, I'm going to work. I don't know how else to explain it. It's like a genius move. Happy New Year. Happy 2026. Welcome back, guys. My name is Ariana. If you guys are new here, if you guys have been here before, welcome back. It has been a very exciting end of the last year. I celebrated my birthday in November. Oh, in October we went to the fair. I think you guys saw that on the page. December was kind of crazy for me, but then I went home back to California with my family. So I haven't been picking up the camera so much. I feel very awkward being in front of the camera again. Not that the awkwardness ever went away, but it got a little more comfortable being in front. Now it's back to being awkward. So sorry for the awkwardness, but welcome back. 2026, brand new year, brand new me. No, I'm just kidding. It's definitely not a brand new me. I saw this quote on Instagram that said, there's no point in starting over if you're already on the right path. So I was like, this year I'm not starting over. This year I'm just continuing on the same trajectory that I was already on. So yeah, there's no point in starting over every single year if you already know where you're at, if you already know where you're going, and if you already have that plan in place. So thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Anyways, you guys, my name is Ariana. If you guys are new here, if you guys are not new here, welcome back. We do all things Texas, all things Dallas specifically here. As you guys know from my last videos, if you haven't watched those, go ahead and watch those. We moved from California to Dallas with no money, maybe $1,000, no money, a dog, a suitcase, and nowhere to go, nowhere to live. I had a couple of friends that were like, hey, you can sleep on my couch. I slept on a friend's couch for a month and a half. In that month and a half, I got a job as a server, was able to get an apartment a month and a half later. And then a year later, I bought a car. And now we're almost, I guess, 2.5 years later after me moving here. I moved to Garland because I loved the apartment here. So in Garland, I'm 29 minutes away from Dallas, maybe 30 minutes away from Dallas, 29, 30, whatever. And I still work in Dallas. I still do most of my things in Dallas. I just liked the apartment in Garland, so I chose to have a commute. But yeah, so that's my life. That's my story in a nutshell. But my video today is about a lot of comments that I've been getting concerning, I guess, starting your life over in your mid-30s and how I did it, why I did it, and people who are kind of scared to do it. They don't know if they want to start their life over. They're a little apprehensive, and this video is to tell you, you can do it. It's not scary. My thought process is starting your life over with God this time around shouldn't be scary. It should be really exciting. And that's kind of the thought process that I have on the whole situation. Like, I started my life over. I knew exactly what I wanted to do, what I didn't want to do. I knew what I wanted to get away from. I knew I wanted to just have a whole new mental outlook and even develop my mental outlook on life, become the woman that God created me to be. And that's one of the reasons why I decided to take that leap and move away from my friends, away from my family, and meet new people out here and have a whole new job and make a whole new life. And it's something that I needed for my life, and it's something that I really, really wanted to do. And it happened. God made every step of the way possible for me. And I'm telling you, He can do it for you. If He did it for me, you guys know the rest. So I do have a list of things to make this journey possible. As you would probably already know, the first step is keeping God first, keeping your priorities straight, knowing what you are leaving, and making sure that you don't repeat that when you guys get here to Dallas. Dallas is just like any major city. There's lots of temptation here. There's lots of things that you can easily make an idol, and there's things that can easily take you in a downward spiral. And I say that because I've seen it with people who have moved here. I've seen it firsthand, alcoholism being created, drug addiction being created, especially if you're working in the service industry. Drugs is heavy in the drug industry. And I thank God I never had a desire for drugs, but if you have alcoholic problems, if you have drug addictions or any type of addictions, I wouldn't recommend the service industry because that stuff runs rampant there. And a lot of times when you get out of work 2 a.m., 3 a.m., after serving all these people, there's nothing else for you to do besides go to a bar. And then people go to the bar, and then the bar leads to other things, extracurricular activities that just don't align with what God had for me in my life. And I've never divulged in any of that. I will say the first year that I did come here, my drinking increased, but not to alcoholism. I went from like barely drinking, not really liking alcohol, to maybe like a 1 drink every time we go out type girl. I like a fruity cocktail. I like trying new drinks and how people have scientifically created the concoction of this fruity flavor with this, and it brings out, and I've gotten really into wine as well, but it's never been to an addiction part of it. I just really enjoy seeing what wine pairs with food, and like how it brings out certain flavors and how different grapes and things like that. I've gotten really into that, so that involves a little bit of drinking, but nothing to the point of drunkenness, and nothing to the point of I need. I will say the first year though, it started getting there towards like, oh man, I need to go to the bar, but I had to correct myself real quick. I don't need to go to the bar. For what? The bar for what? So I caught that becoming something that was going to become a cycle. It's very imperative that you guys do catch those things as soon as possible, because the calling on your life is not for you to come here and repeat the same cycles that you did back at home. Okay? With that being said, number 1, keep God first. So I think I want to go kind of in reverse order. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about some of the things that are common mistakes when people move here. They don't have the right mentality. They are not keeping God first. God, Jesus, Holy Spirit, keep them all first. Secondly, I would say spending too much money early. When I first moved out here, like I said, I lived on a friend's couch for a month and a half. And I know I was probably getting on her nerves, but I tried my best to have a 0 carbon footprint in her house, if that makes any type of sense. I left in the morning, went to a coffee shop. At that time, I was still in school. So I went in the morning, went to a coffee shop, spent hours at a coffee shop working on my thesis with my dog, worked on my thesis. After the coffee shop, I got ready for work, and I was gone until 2 a.m. That's it. Then I would come home, walk my dog, and go to sleep, and then wake up and do it all over again the next day. Like, I didn't want to be in her house. I would cook every once in a while. I would clean up immediately after myself. But I made sure that I had no footprint in her house, to the point where she was like, oh my gosh, you got to pick up this, you got to pick up that. If you're going to live with a friend, if you're going to live with a roommate, and it's going to be a temporary situation, just make sure that you are doing your best to be invisible as much as possible, because it just makes your life a little bit easier than to have drama and whatever else may ensue. So spending money too early. Live with a friend if you can. If you can't, then I have more information for you guys later. You do Airbnb, room for rent, whatever. Save enough money to afford your first month and deposit. So however your living situation works out, first month and deposit is what you need to save up for out here. They want basically first month and your deposit. Other than that, apartments out here are pretty easy to get into, and I use an apartment locator. Did I just hit the mic? I'm sorry. I use an apartment locator, so it made my life a lot easier. Then after your apartment, you're going to save for a car. Dallas is a car city. It's not New York City where you get on a little metro and you don't have to have a car. Baby, you need a car out here. It is imperative. I did a year without a car. It was tough, but I did it because we're not spending too much money too early. Within that year, I did create friends. I created coworkers, things like that. I got a job. I think that's important, getting a job, because when you get a job, your coworkers kind of become your friends. Then they'll be like, oh, you're taking the bus home, or oh, you're doing this. Hey, get in my car, I'll take you home. And now you saved money on Uber, Lyft, or bus. Bus out here is like $2. Then I would say after you get a car, start your nest egg, start your savings. Goal would be about, I would say, minimum 5K in savings. And then I would also say stay away from signing expensive leases too early. So those are the most common mistakes, I would say. Underestimating commute time. So when I first moved out here, I looked at my Apple Maps. I started pinning things, seeing how far the distance was from certain things. I started using the bus route, the transit route. I also started like really mapping out my go-tos. What's the grocery store? What's the closest grocery store? Where's my job in reference to where I'm living? Where is my job in reference to the grocery store? Can I go to the grocery store after work and then make it home? There's just so many things that you need to develop. I actually did that before I left California. I knew kind of the general location of where my friend lived, and I did as much recon as I could from California. So I knew, okay, this is exactly where I want to go. TikTok is a very, very, very viable source. One thing I don't like about TikTok and Instagram and all these social media Dallas influencers is that when they say Dallas, it's not Dallas. Dallas is very similar. If you guys are from California, Dallas is very similar to Bay Area. So if somebody says, oh, I'm from the Bay, you're like, well, what part of the Bay? Are you from Fremont? Are you from San Francisco? Are you from San Jose? Are you from, like, what part of the Bay? East Bay? What part of the Bay are you from? That's our question. Are you from Oakland? Like, where are you from? Or do you say you're from the Bay and you live in Stockton? That we need to know what part of the Bay. So when you see the influencers on TikTok and they say, oh, it's in Dallas, baby, ask the question, what part of Dallas? Because when I started mapping things, it wasn't in Dallas. It was in Plano. It was in Frisco. It was in Allen. It was in Old East Dallas. It was in McKinney, Lancaster, baby. It was Keller. It was everywhere but actually Dallas. And I was like, man, I got all my favorite places, but they were not in Dallas. They were so far away from Dallas. Richmond, like these are all specific cities. Dallas is like Dallas proper, like Bay Area. So be very cautious when you listen to certain influencers, because Dallas is not always Dallas. Dallas is surrounding cities as well. So when you're mapping everything, just know that. You probably heard it here first, because I have been all over TikTok and people don't mention this at all. Dallas is not always Dallas. Let's just say that, okay? And then I would also say expecting the city to feel warm socially is not always inviting in Dallas. Be cautious of certain people. I would just say be cautious of people. Just be cautious. You're an outcast. You are a transplant. Just be cautious of people. Don't go in here thinking everybody's Southern hospitality, because 90% of people are also transplants. They're not Southern hospitable. And sometimes people from Dallas specific, I'm talking about the girls, they don't really mess with other girls. And it makes it a little hard to make friends. It makes it a little hard to trust people. So I say keep that. I don't think the guys have too much of a problem. I don't know. But for the women specifically, the girls in Dallas specifically who are from here are a little weird. And I say that in the most, I guess, adult way of trying to make friends. They're a little weird. So I've met friends and a lot of them are transplants. So just be cautious when you are trying to make friends here. Not everybody is your friend. They sound like your friend at first and they stab you in the back. I've been stabbed in the back twice. But, you know, I got the hedge of protection. So it's all good. It's all good. I would also say you got to show up. Show up to reap the benefits. Dallas is a grinding hustle city. Show up to reap the benefits. Don't sit here and think something's gonna fall into your lap. It's not. You gotta grind. It's gotta be sometimes an 18-hour grind, sometimes a 20-hour grind. Sometimes you take a nap in the car and then you go out and you grind some more. That's what it's like here in Dallas. You have to make a name for yourself. It's not gonna fall into your lap at all. And just make sure the name that you're making for yourself aligns with God. That's all I have to say. Y'all gonna get tired of me preaching to you, but I'm telling you, it is a necessity to keep God first here, because you can easily lose yourself. And I am putting emphasis on that because I have seen it happen. I've seen people go into drug addiction. I just said this, but I've seen people go into drug addiction. I've seen people try to run away and then come back because the drug addiction is so heavy. I've seen people hang around with the wrong people that have the drug addiction, that when people say, hey, I'm not doing drugs anymore, those same friends that you keep in your circle, they bring you right back down. Arrests happen, losing certain things in your life happen. So just make sure we keep a mentality of we're grinding, we're hustling, we're trying to better our life, right? Grind without ego. Don't make it seem like you're big, you're bad, you're this, you're that, because you're coming here and you're starting your life over at nothing. Just be super humble. Just be thankful to God that you have a job. Be thankful to God that you have a roof over your head and that things are aligning for you, because God is allowing God. Because you are allowing God to let things happen to you. You're not blocking your blessings. I would say become practical, smart, and use common sense. We're all adults here. If you're starting your life over in your 30s, you are an adult here. So I don't need to be babysitting, right? It's a marathon, it's not a race. So just make sure my timeline may not be your timeline. It took me about 1.5 years to get stable, balancing rent, balancing groceries, balancing my finances, starting over with an income. Like I said, I work in the restaurant industry that goes up and down. So it took me about 1.5 years to get stable. It took me 1 year to get a car. It took me 2 months to get an apartment. That's not gonna always be your timeline, but it's very, very possible. Very possible, and it's easy. I would also say Dallas has the potential to prepare you for your next chapter. And if you're not looking for the signs of a level up once you get here, then you have to be in alignment. Be in alignment. Know what you want. Come here ready to win. That's all you have to do. I'm gonna give you step by step, but that's all you have to do is come here ready to win. If it's not Dallas specific, it could potentially happen to you in the outskirts of Dallas. Like, you have the potential to win here. You just gotta seek it. You gotta have the no ego. You gotta be willing to sleep on the floor. You gotta be willing to sleep in your car. You gotta be willing to do what you need to do, especially if you're coming here with no money. Okay? Now we get into the nitty gritty. That was just my opening TED Talk. Now we get into the nitty gritty. How are we gonna do this? How? Drawn out exact plan on how we're going to do this. Okay? It's gonna be easy. 2026 reset, Dallas edition. Okay, coming from another city, Dallas edition, or coming from another state, Dallas edition. All right, cool. First, you're going to research the job market. What is your niche? Where do you see yourself? Are you going after the medical field? Are you going after the, I don't know, tech field? Tech is really big here in Dallas. Medical, anything is really big here in Dallas. I used to live in the medical district around 3 different hospitals. And then when I first moved here, I lived by another hospital. Like, the hospitals are in abundance out here. Tech abundance out here. What's your What's your niche? Where are you going? What are you doing? Now, if you don't have one, maybe you should think about it. But back up, I would always say restaurant industry, hospitality industry. I did restaurant. My first restaurant job was STK Steakhouse. I'm pretty sure you guys are familiar with that. I worked at STK for 2 years. I no longer work at STK. It was a bittersweet depart, but these jobs are meant to have a high turnover rate. You're not supposed to stay there forever. But one thing about me is when I got to STK, everybody became friends. It became like a second family, and I grinded. I was working doubles, sometimes 7 days a week to get out of my friend's apartment, to get my own apartment, to save for my deposit and my first month's rent. Those people become family. I go home and I don't have anybody to talk to. So your work friends kind of become your family. So I stayed there a little longer than I needed to, but there's so many bartending jobs. You could do hospital. If you down, bottle girl's not my forte, but they do make some good money, bottle girls. And you can look on TikTok, restaurant industry workers, they make really good money out here. Bartenders make really good money. You can go from 100K easily to 200K in the restaurant industry. And that's another reason why I stayed so long, because the money just comes so fast, right? So I'm a strong advocate for restaurant industry, but only if you're strong enough. If you don't have a drug addiction or an alcohol addiction, then I recommend the food industry. Now, if you have a food addiction, don't do that. Because that's probably something that I do struggle with. I eat out a lot, and that it came from working at this restaurant, eating out, getting food so readily available, having a lot of money at one time. And then it's like, hey, let's go out to these fancy restaurants and buy all this food and eat it. And I literally would stuff myself to the brim, to the where I would have to come home and take a nap. So if you struggle with any type of addiction, I say don't go into service industry. But if you don't really have an addiction, and you could work through little small temptations, I recommend service industry, any type. Bartender and restaurant is definitely what I go towards, and it's the easiest to get hired for. You can ask ChatGPT to change your resume to make you hireable. I highly recommend the service industry. This shirt is so itchy, guys. Sorry if I keep itching. Like, it itches in like one spot. Research your job market if you have one. If you don't have one, then research restaurant industry, research hospitality industry, research any type of job that you think would be easy to get. Your goal is to be okay with a quick hire and any type of paycheck within your morals, any type of paycheck. Okay, we're not being picky. We just need to get here and make money fast. Restaurant industry. So you want to be here, make money fast, be okay with real quick paychecks, anything that you can get. So we have this in phases. So phase 1, you're going to look for a job before you move. Phase 1 is before you move. Look for a job, look for your job market, look for housing before you move. Where do you want to go? Airbnb, room for rent, looking for a roommate. They have everything here. You can easily find a studio apartment. If you do have a small cushion, you can find a studio apartment, room for rent. Like I said, Airbnb, roommate situation, you name it, it's out there. You can find it. Like I said, look for quick, easy jobs where you can get quick cash so you can start saving up really fast. And then, like I said, plan routes from grocery stores to hospitals. Make sure you know where the hospital is just in case you need help. Wherever you know you're gonna go, the gym, wherever, nail spots, all of that, you can plan routes. I don't recommend nail spots, and I don't recommend anything that's frivolous right now, because we're starting our life over. We're not maintaining the lifestyle that we're living right now. So if we're starting our life over, we need to save as much money as possible. As you can see, I don't have my nails done, but I'm a girly that does not get my nails done. I get my toes done, but not my nails. But anyways, didn't get my toes done, didn't get my nails done for a year, almost a year. Phase 2 is within your first 30 days. So within your first 30 days, you are going to go after the fastest hiring jobs. So fastest hiring jobs, meaning DFW airport, warehouse, hospitals, hotels, restaurants. All right, so phase 3 would be, now that you found a spot, now that you have a job, now that you've kind of developed a routine, you're going to start looking for long-term living situations, long-term housing. Now it's time to be a big girl or whatever and get your first apartment if you did room for rent, Airbnb or whatever. I went from sleeping on my friend's couch to my own apartment. So that's the same thing. I slept on a friend's couch and then it was time for me to be a big girl. We did that in about a month and a half. I didn't have time to play around. So we did that in about a month and a half. You can do, it just depends on how you got here, motel, hotel, whatever. Now you're upgraded to a roommate, or from roommate to a studio, or from a studio to one bed, however it is. You can start after 2 to 4 months of actually developing some stability. I recommend starting looking for long-term housing so you can get on your own. I would say avoid luxury buildings or luxury buildings specifically, but if you use an apartment locator, it's really easy for you to find an apartment and you can tell them what your budget is. I've talked about apartment locating in my other videos. They're amazing. I used Smart City. I found them on Instagram. There's a ton of Instagram apartment locators. Just be wary because they do scam a lot. When you see the video, it's like, oh, you can get this penthouse for less than $1,200. And when you get there, it's like, oh no, we didn't mean the penthouse. We meant the studio apartment was less than $1,200. The penthouse is actually $4,000. So you think you're gonna get like this big luxurious thing because of the pitch that they're saying in the video, but it's really the 1 bedroom or whatever. So be wary of those types of scams. But if you are working with the apartment locator, they will let you know, hey, that's not accurate. That building doesn't have anything less than this or whatever. I recommend apartment locating. But avoid luxury builds because they tend to charge a little bit more. My first apartment was Maple District Lofts. I thought at first it was a really great apartment, but as I developed and grew and spent 2 years there, it wasn't the best for me and I was ready to move after that. But the grind was where it's at. Maple District Lofts, it's on Maple Avenue, between Maple and Inwood, if you guys are looking for apartments. They do have studio apartments. The studios were relatively affordable, like $1,000 or something. I don't know what it was like. I don't know what it's like now, but back then it was like $1,000 or something. I ended up going with a 1 bedroom. They have, a lot of apartments have specials for you, move-in specials, like, hey, you get your first month free, whatever. A lot of apartments have specials. And then as you get into your apartment, you can definitely upgrade. And then I would say phase 4 would be between 4 and 12 months. It's time for you to build a life. It's time for you to get on your feet. It's time for you to be the person that God has ordained for you. So your favorite places to go, a cheap gym at this point, find out of the house activities. What are some things that you like to do? For me, it was eating out. That was one of my favorite out of the house activities. I would go eat out by myself. I would go to happy hours. I would do a whole bunch of different things because I just loved being outside of the house. Find a church home that you can plug into. It may not be the one that's your forever, but find one that you can plug into that's close by. Upgrade job if you're ready. Now you've been in the state for 4 to 12 months. Try to find something that's a little bit better. Like I said, there's new restaurants opening up every 20 minutes and they always make money. I would say IT, healthcare, logistics, trade jobs like HVAC and so on, corporate jobs. Some of these things you don't need degrees for. and it's really easy to get hired. So it's easy to upgrade your lifestyle. You just need consistency. Then I would start with socializing. Like, it takes a while. Like, socializing is cool at first, but you want to make sure that your thoughts are your thoughts and not somebody else's thoughts. And you don't want to be impressionable. You don't want other people to tell you, oh, well, I would have. I could never be you. You're better than me. I could. And you don't want all that when you're first moving out here at all. You don't want that. You have to be very strong individual in order for you to combat all of that. So I would say between 4 to 12 months, you start socializing, you know, coworkers, hanging out, fitness clubs, Bible studies, things like that. Start making that a priority for you. But yeah, I mean, that would be the first year that you're here. After that, everything would be your own. I would say you need to have a sink or swim mentality. I came out here with, I'm not moving back, so I'm gonna have to make it. There's people who have moved out here and then ended up moving back home. It's a mental battle that you need to have. You have to be mentally tough. In any, I'm not even gonna say it's Dallas. It's any move that you make in life that's a change. You have to be mentally tough. Pretend you don't have a safety net. Pretend if you go home, you're a failure. You have to make this work. You have to have the Steve Jobs mentality. You have to have the Jeff Bezos mentality, the Elon Musk mentality. Like, you have to make this work. Even if you have a measly little restaurant job, I'm not going back home. I'm not going back home. I'm successful in my own eyes. I've made it. I have a car, I have an apartment, I have a job. Everything is working for me. I'm able to live off of my own resources. I don't need to go back home to get those resources. You have to have that type of mentality. Like I said, when I first got my apartment, I slept on the floor. The first night, a friend, because I had a job now, a friend gave me an air mattress. I slept on that for like a year. And then after that, I was able to save up enough money to buy a bed. My first time getting into my apartment, I went to the dollar store. Got paper plates, paper cups, some forks, like at least 4 forks, 2 towels, because I had a washer and dryer, 2 towels to wash my body with, some soap to wash my body with. Like, I did everything from the dollar store. The dollar store has everything, and you can get everything you need at a reasonable dollar price. Maybe in 3 weeks of using dollar store products, you upgrade. Now we're going to Walmart and getting the real stuff. Now we're going to Bath and Body Works. And now, like, you have to start somewhere. Be okay with the grind. Be okay with sleeping on the floor. It's your apartment. I wouldn't want to sleep on somebody else's floor, but it's my apartment. I pay this rent. I'm gonna sleep on the floor, okay? You gotta have that mentality. I did that. Slept on the floor. I had made coworkers. They started giving me things. God allowed men to pour into my bosom. That's why you keep God first. I need some water. What else do I have on here? Car. Big. You need a car in Dallas. Dallas does not have sidewalks. If they do have sidewalks, it ends abruptly while you're walking. You're like, okay, where's the sidewalk? Now I'm on the freeway. Like, legit, not lying to you, the sidewalks turn into like freeways. Weird. I recommend a car. When I first moved out here, I didn't have a car. I took the bus. My friend didn't even have a car. She was an Uber user. But I took the bus. Her apartment was close to a bus stop. I walked 10 minutes to the bus stop in the heat. Because when I moved out here, it was April, May, I was basically walking to the bus stop. Very hot. You have to be okay with the heat out here, especially if you're gonna be on grind. You probably shouldn't get a warehouse job if you're heat sensitive, if you're on the grind and you don't have a car and all that other stuff. So you have to walk to the bus stop. Took the bus, got a friend to drive me home, or I would Uber home, not take the bus home. That's a little sketchy, especially as a female. You want to be safe. Instacarted and DoorDashed to the grocery store. or from the grocery store, I did that. I would get the minimum. So Instacart, I think some grocery stores, the minimum is like $35. And I was like, ooh, I can afford $35. So I would do the minimum, get beans, rice, cornbread, some fish, frozen fish. I'm a pescatarian, so that's why I went that route. Living beneath your means and being okay, like I said, with the grind. It's okay to eat cornbread and beans and rice, okay? We were tuna casserole, we were beans, rice, and cornbread for our cheap meals. So I lived off of that. I would make tuna sandwiches. I would get some chips from the 7-Eleven down the street, and that was my meal. And then I would go to work. This is why it's good to work in the restaurant industry, because you sometimes can get food. One of the jobs that I worked at, they offered family meal at 5 to 6 p.m. where they would cook for the whole entire restaurant. You would have family meal. Then you become cool with the cooks. And sometimes the cooks will give you some food, or sometimes the kitchen messes up and there's food left over. I never had to worry about food. I was never hungry because I worked in the restaurant industry. And then if you go in on your off day, sometimes they give you 50% off. 50% off of a $10 French fry, $5, like you're winning. So that's one of the reasons why I'm a strong advocate for starting your life over and going into the restaurant industry, is because it is so easy to get by without having to buy a bunch of groceries. I still don't buy groceries. I buy some things, but 9 times out of 10, I'm eating at work. Even if it's having to make me a salad or a pizza or pasta, I don't have to worry about food. If I'm down to my last dollar, I'm going to work. I don't know how else to explain it. It's like a genius move. Why would you work someplace where you're gonna have to struggle? Like, I don't have to struggle. I can literally go to work at 11 a.m. when they open and leave at 11 p.m. when they close and have 2-3 meals. Have 2-3 meals, and one of them I can pay for. And restaurants, if they mess up, sometimes they give the food to the staff. We messed this one up. It didn't hit the table, but they said they didn't want this, that. Take it to the back so the servers can eat it. Am I making sense? Oh my God. Oh my God. So anyways, and unlimited drinks, because some restaurants have fountain drinks. You have unlimited water, unlimited fountain drinks, and sometimes unlimited food. If not, you have 1 to 2 meals a day, and all you need is beans and rice at the house in case you're a little hungry. Okay? It's that simple, it's that easy. Okay. I don't even know where we're at. I'm literally just venting. We're FaceTiming. We're FaceTiming. Okay. So anyways, like I said, job market, mental. Work on your mental. It's grind, sink or swim. We're not playing this here. We're gonna survive. You need a car for sure. If you don't have a car, it's very possible. I went a whole year without a car. Very possible. You can Uber, Lyft, take the bus, take the train. I've done all 4 of those. All 4 of those. So anyways, yeah, you're gonna need a car. But when I was Ubering, it cost me $200 to $300 a month. And I lived 2 miles away from the house. For me, that wasn't a big deal because I was making really good money at my restaurant. So it wasn't that bad. Like I said, find housing and employment close to each other. So you want to find your job and your house really close to each other if possible. And then, like I said, Instacart, DoorDash, those are some essentials, but only do the essentials because it does the pricing and the charging and the upcharging on those things kind of get out of hand. When I was looking for my restaurant job, I went to Yelp. I went and searched the things in Dallas that had $3-4 signs because I knew I wanted to be in a high upscale restaurant. And so that's kind of how I fell into STK. And then one of the girls at STK, one of the ones that stabbed me in the back, one of the girls at STK, she was an apartment locator. So she showed me a couple apartments and I picked the apartment that I wanted, the one I wanted to see. She was like, oh my God, that's crazy that you picked that one because I live there. So she sent me her apartment and I was like, well, we all work together. I might as well live at your apartment in the same apartment complex, if that makes sense. So she kind of got the hookup for me as an apartment locator. And then I was neighbors with her. She lived across the way though. It was maybe a 10-minute walk through the apartment to get to her apartment. But I had, again, those things that have expiration date. The friendships that have an expiration date is one of those friendships. She was definitely there for me when I needed it. And God had my back. He let people come into my life. But keeping relationships that you know have expired always stab you in the back. And I'm taking full responsibility. I kept a friendship with her, knowing that God has already revealed to me that she wasn't the right person to continue having a friendship with, and it stabbed me in the back. So that's my fault. I didn't listen. Take it from me. Make sure you listen to what God has to say. But anyways, the way she stabbed me in the back was by stealing $700 from me and then quitting the job at the restaurant and then acting like she was better than me. Mind you, she was from Dallas. Not saying that was everybody, but that was, I should not have continued an expired relationship that God had, set an expiration date for. So keep that in mind. But anyways, that was a blessing though, because she's the one that gave me the air mattress. She definitely gave me rides to work when I needed them, because we were both working at the same job and both doing the same thing. I work in finance in the daytime and I work at a restaurant at night. And she worked as a real estate agent in the daytime and worked at the restaurant at night. It's just extra income. And so that's kind of how we cultivated our friendship. It was amazing. I don't have any problems with the beginning part. Anyways, don't worry about nothing, because God's gonna give you your house. God's gonna give you your apartment. So don't worry about what you're doing right now. If you gotta sleep on the floor, sleep on the floor. But when you get the new apartment, be okay with sleeping on the floor until God blesses you with a bed. And be okay with eating off of paper plates until God blesses you with some plates. And be okay with sitting on the floor until God blesses you with a couch. And be okay with looking at the wall until God blesses you with a TV. And this is what I'm doing. I'm speaking from experience. I have 2 TVs now. I don't need them. I barely watch them. They're really noise for when I go to sleep. 2 TVs. I have a couch that God bless me. Another caused men to bore into my bosom. Somebody gave me a couch. I have a bed that I went and I bought. I have a car that I went and I bought. I have an apartment. Like, it's all because God had a plan for me. And I know he has a plan for you. I'm gonna wrap this video up. I think I've said everything that I need to say. But yeah, like I said, what your main thing, and this video has been all over the place, because like I said, this is awkward for me. I might try to chop and screw it to where it's all in the right. But like I said, just to recap, you guys have to have the mentality. Once you get that mentality, you have to be willing to do the grind. Sleep on the floor, do what you need to do, shop at the dollar store until you're able to upgrade your life. Work a job that you may not want to work, but work it for long hours. Work it for 18 hours until your business takes off, or until a business falls into your lap, or until God blesses you with something else, or until you're able to upgrade. Work the job. Make the money. The money is out there to be made. You just have to have that mentality. You have to be a goal hunter. What's the goal? I'm going after my goal. I'm hunting after my goal until I accomplish it. That's what you have to do. I also have this mic and I'm doing this and it probably doesn't sound good. I'm sorry. But yeah, I think that's all I'm going into. I think that's all I have to say. That was a lot. I feel like I've been here for like an hour. I don't know how long this video is gonna be. I'm so sorry. But yeah, I would say Happy New Year. Welcome to 2026. This is the year, which is crazy because I started with lip gloss and I don't have any. That's how much I've been talking. This is the year. This is your year. Take it. Take it and make it everything that you ever wanted it to be. Nobody's stopping you but you and your own thoughts. So if your goal is to read 12 books this year, read 12 books this year. Hey, if you start over and you ain't got nothing, all you gotta do is read. All you have time to do is read. Come home from work and read your book. Like, you don't need to be doing a whole bunch of different stuff. Use this time, because when you move and you're out here by yourself, it is a season of solitude. Use this time to get closer to God. Use this time to heal yourself from things that have been past traumas, past triggers. Just maybe you come from a household that had a lot of problems. Heal yourself from that, because your next season, you're not going to need all that. It's okay to keep your friends, your family, but sometimes you have to separate yourself so you can help save them. Okay? Just focus. Focus, focus, focus. So if you want to move to Dallas in 2026, 30 plus, I hope I gave you some good tips and tricks. But my battery is dying and I have to go. So I will see you guys next video. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys want to see, what you guys want to hear. I pretty much take some of your comments and make it into videos. But I have had the most wonderful time living here in Dallas. Would I go back to California? Probably not. I visited. It just doesn't feel like home to me anymore. It's been a blessing for me. Now, it may not work for you and it may not work for everybody. And I'm not saying this video is for you to make it work, but if it's another state, if it's another city, maybe that will work better for you. But Dallas has definitely transcended my life, changed my life. It has been everything, and I've created an awesome support group here. And even now my family, before they were sporadically visiting me, now they're like, oh my God, we want to buy real estate. Oh my gosh, we want to do this, because they see the life that I built here and how amazing it is. Just making sure you're keeping God first and you're keeping your priorities straight. So with that being said, I'm actually going to end this video. I hope you guys have an amazing 2026, and I plan on seeing you guys a lot more. I'm so sorry. But let me know in the comments what you guys want to see, and I will try to make that happen. Have a blessed 2026, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video.